everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my first design team project for Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files. They are COAPA cut files on Etsy, and this cut file I'm using is actually the freebie up in the Facebook group at the moment. So Virginia puts up a new freebie every 2 weeks and everyone in the Facebook group can get that. So make sure you go ahead and join the Facebook group. I'll leave that link in the description box below along with the link to the shop. Now this cut file I'm using is the flower stack that you can see on the left there, and I've sort of cut it once and a half, so I've cut it twice, but I only cut half of it the second time, and I'm going to use those extra ones to sort of layer up and tuck underneath and make a beautiful full flower cluster. So these papers I have are from Kaisercraft. They're from one of the 100 pack paper sheet packs that they put out every now and again, and I have 5 each of these papers, so I have a lot of these to go through. So this one I pulled out, I flipped it over. I love this grey and white polka dot, so I'm going to use that as my background, and I'm just sort of layering my flowers, trying to get an idea of where I want to put them. So you can see here I am going to cut these extra ones up and use them sort of as individual flowers. And what I want to do is pop up the main flower cluster on some foam, and then I'm sort of going to tuck everything else underneath to sort of create a few different layers of dimension. Now I absolutely love that floral paper there, so I'm going to use some of that to back my cut file. I'm going to back all these flowers, and I'm going to make some shaker pockets as well. So I'm just going through my papers here because I knew I had that page already cut up somewhere. So I'm going to use that large floral, I'm going to use some of that little floral that you can see in the background there, and I'm going to use some of the reverse side of this one, which is a really nice pink colour. So I'm just going through and putting a bit of glue around the edges of my cut file. I'm just using a tacky glue, and then I'm going to pop that on top of the page that I want to use to back it. So this is how I tend to back cut files. I know some people will trace around the shape and then cut it out and then glue it down, but I just find this is the easiest, quickest, easiest way to do it. So I'm going straight in with my scissors. I'm not letting the glue dry completely because I sort of angle my scissors so they get in underneath the edge of the cut file, if that makes sense. You can sort of see what I'm doing there. There we go. And then there we go. Most of them are backed. I've left 3 empty because I'm going to do shaker pockets, like I said. So cutting out some thin strips of adhesive foam. Now, if you look really closely at my cut file, you'll notice I've missed a crucial step in this process, and that is I have not glued my acetate onto my flowers. And I can't tell you how many times I've done this. Too many times. I don't know why. I think I'm just so keen to get into it, I skip ahead. So I'm laying all my little strips of foam down around the edge of my flower, but there's no acetate on there, so I can't make shaker pockets that way. So I end up having to pull it all up. But that's okay. It's easily fixed. So still haven't realised at this point, I'm going ahead and backing the rest of my cut file just up on some foam. So I want it all to be the one height. There we go, skip 2, I've just realised. I think I got to nearly finished backing everything, and yeah, then I've realised. So I pulled the foam off, just off those shaker pocket ones, and I'm going to pop my acetate down. So I'm just putting a thin layer of glue all the way around, and I'm going right to the middle, just in case. You really want to be careful that you get glue all around the edge of your shaker pockets when you're making these, because you don't want any sequins falling out. So I'm going to trim this, just trim it roughly, and then I'm going to let it dry. You really do want to let the acetate dry, I've found, because it does slip and slide around if you try to cut it out before it's dry. So I am going ahead and gluing down just one flower of my cut file. The rest is still not glued down. I just don't want it to move around as I am filling up my shaker pockets. So this is probably not the easiest way to do it. I've tried other ways, and this is the easiest way for me. So I'm putting together some sequin mixes. This is a pretty flower mix that I got from Spotlight. I can't remember the name of the designer, but it's just in the sewing section, and they're little flowers. They're pink and mint and white. And I'm putting a few of those out, and then adding some gold hollow sequins and then some pink ones. And I pulled out these flowers. I know it's sped up super fast, but this was taking so long. It was so boring to watch. So I'm just adding in some nice deep dark pink flowers that match that dark floral paper I've used in the cut file. And I think I put in some pale pink ones as well. And all these sequins I either got off eBay or just from Spotlight. And those little ones I added with just some teeny tiny hot pink hearts. So just to bring in some more of that deep pink colour. And now I'm going to tuck those underneath my little shaker pocket, making sure they are all the way underneath that foam, so that none are going to get trapped underneath the foam because that would leave a hole. And then just making sure to put glue all the way around the edge of that foam. So again, we don't want any of those sequins falling out. I'm really pressing that down till it dries. I'm using tacky glue, so it does grab pretty quickly. I don't have to leave it there for too long. Okay, trimming off my branding strip real quick, and then I'm going to just have an idea of where I'm going to put my flowers. I'm not going to glue them down yet, but just trying to figure out where I cut these apart so that I can sort of layer it over. And just like that, I love how these turned out. I was so happy with this page. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off the ends of these flowers, and I trim the ends off quite a few of them, I think, so that they tuck underneath each other nicely. And now I'm going to pull in my photo. I do sort of tend to jump around a bit when I'm scrapbooking, mainly because I don't want to, I don't want to get my heart set on having something a certain way and then find out that my photo doesn't fit there, or I have to move everything to accommodate my photo or my title. So this is my photo. This is my little daughter. She was only a few months old here, just having Cuddles on the sofa. Just a special moment. She's such a smiley, happy girl. I'm going to go ahead and start layering up. I think those extra flowers stay where they are now, roughly where they are now. And adding a bit of white tissue paper behind my photo. Just trimming off the excess. So, I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this. You don't have to do it in any particular order. Obviously, I am jumping all over the place. I will stop halfway through working on a cut file to mat a photo, or I will stop halfway through matting my photo to lay a title down or something like that. It's fine, there's no rules. I'm just using some ATG tape here on my tissue paper, but I have to add a little bit of glue because the ATG doesn't seem to like the tissue paper very much. So I'm using some of that pink that I've used to back the cut files. And if you're wondering why I didn't put it in the corner, it's because that paper sort of fades out right on the edge, and I wanted it to be sort of consistent all the way around the photo. Okay, I'm taking some of that mint green crackle. No, not, that comes next. Using some of the little floral first. Again, just a nice thin layer around my photo. So these are all the papers that I used to back the cut file with. I'm not bringing in any new patterns because there's already quite a few on there, and I didn't want it to get too busy. I like that it's soft and delicate. So just a little bit of that mint green on the bottom left corner there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tear the top and the bottom edges, corners there that are sort of blank. I have a real problem with leaving blank space on my layouts. I really need to work on that, and I really love people's minimalist layouts where they have lots of white space. I just really struggle. It just looks so plain. So I'm trying to fill in these corners. I'm just tearing the edge off, and this is one of my favorite techniques to do. I do it quite a lot. And I'm going to bring in some of that tiny little rosebud floral. I just love it. It's so pretty. And just trying to minimize how much paper I use, so cutting off a couple of rectangles just big enough to fit in those spots, and a bit of tape, and just line up the edges. Easy peasy. I really love this. I'm so glad I did it. Okay, that moment stuck up, that's from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, not Happiness, Midnight Collection. It sits there for a while, but it doesn't stay. I do end up finding something I like better. So I'm just popping up the left side of my photo on some foam there to make sure it sits nice and even on top of that cut file. And now I'm taking some white acrylic paint and I'm just watering it down a little bit so I can make some splatters. And I'm going to take my photo off, and I'm going to cover up most of the cut file. It looks like I cover up most of it, but what I'm really trying to cover up is those shaker pockets. I don't want paint getting on top of the acetate because it just looks yucky, and then you can't see the sequins, and that's the whole point of shaker pockets. So I'm just going around and doing some white splatters all over the background. It's already got that white polka dot, so I just wanted to make it a little bit more, I don't know, messy, and I have splatters on pretty much every layout I do, let's face it. And then adding some gold as well. So this is the gold Kaisercraft Mist. I really love this one. It's nice and shiny, and it's a really nice tone. It's nice and gold without being sort of brassy. Okay, so this is the title I ended up using. This is from the Carpe Diem die cut set from Rosie Studio, and I've just put it to the side because I'm going to fuss through and pull out a lot of the florals. I don't end up using most of the florals from this pack, but I do use a couple of the roses and a couple of those darker green leaves that you can see there. I will tuck those in underneath my layers. So I'm just going through those white and gold leaves I use as well, and those little gold love hearts that you can see in the bottom of the tray. They do make it onto the page. And this die cut set, I can't remember what it's called. It's Rosie Studio as well, from the Reject Shop. Really old. Yeah, this is one of the first ones I ever bought, so I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to start gluing in. You can see that flower, I trimmed it quite a lot so it would fit underneath. And I will cover up those blank bits. I love this full floral. Oh, I love it. Okay, a couple of those roses. I'm just going to tuck those in around my sort of, I don't want to call it a wreath because it's not. It just sort of goes straight across the page, but cluster. So tucking. I'm not gluing anything down yet. I'm just getting an idea of where I want things. Not 100% sure my title's going to go at this point. It does end up going down there, but I will change it a little bit, as you will see. I love these yellow florals, but they just did not work. It was just too bright. It was overwhelming the page. Everything else is really soft. Even the pinks are very soft. Even being a dark pink, it's still not overwhelming the page, and I just couldn't make that yellow work. So, unfortunately, but that's okay. I have it for another page. Tucking in some of those little white and gold leaves. And I'm going to use these tiny little floral sprigs to sort of cover up some of those, well, not cover up, but fill in some of those bigger gaps in the cut file, just to make it look a little bit more full. And I'm just playing with them, fussing around. That's mostly how it's going to look. I'm also going to use that little floral to cover up that bit of the cut file that I've sort of trimmed off, as you'll see. Another rose in the back there. Little love heart die cut on my photo. That little label is from Caitlin Schaefer. It's a freebie printable. I have heaps of them. I love them. And so these little rosebuds I'm just going to pop up on 2 layers of foam because they are sort of sitting over those gaps, and that raises them up just slightly higher than the cut file, which is lovely because now I have sort of 3 layers of dimension. I have the flat on the page florals, I have the cut file, and then I have these that are just a little bit higher. So lots of lovely dimension. Love it so much. And there you go. You can see I'm covering up where I've trimmed the edge of that flower with that little rosebud. And I'm going to go through and glue down all my little leaves and extra flowers and bits and pieces. I've also added that little Hello Gorgeous die cut that's going to go across the bottom edge of my photo. Excuse my head getting in the way there. I wasn't game enough to pick up my photo. I'm always scared that if I pick it up off the page, I won't remember exactly where I had it. So I just marked my label with the pencil there so I know which part is going to be covered up because I am going to put my date on that label. There's that Hello Gorgeous die cut across the bottom of my photo corner there. I add in this little rose just to fill in that sort of, that spot was looking a little bit empty. Did I say yellow? I meant pink. And you can see there with that Love Always, I have trimmed off the always and put that above the photo. Oh, above the title because I had it fit with my title better, what I wanted to say for the page. And then I popped up the love on some foam. Again, just some more dimension. You can never have too much dimension as far as I'm concerned. My albums are exploding. They wouldn't agree with me, but there goes my date. And then I'm just going to glue that down. Tuck that back there. All right, now these alphas are from Pink Fresh Studio Indigo Hills 2 collection. I am going to add Cuddles just underneath that love die cut. So my title will be Always Love Cuddles with You. And I will put in with you with those tiny little Kaisercraft little type stickers. Gosh, I can't speak today. And yep, I'm just going to put them right after Cuddles. And they're just black and white, teeny tiny little alpha stickers. Won't make you watch the whole thing. There we go. And that's my title done. And I'm just going to add in that little heart. Then go ahead and trim off all the excess part of the cut file that's hanging off the edge. There we go, and that's done. Here come the close-ups. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to go check out Confessions of a Paper Addict COAPA cut files on Etsy. Links are in the description box, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.